Explosive, aren't we? Oh, been
Whenever
on
I
high. Just
whenever I hear sorry,
go ahead.
whenever I hear the word explosive, I think of anal explosive because
Yeah,
that's
I immediately was like, I take this back of me. Yeah, because I'm like, I thought you were what I thought you were gonna say, Heather, was the word I think of, which is diarrhea.
right,
That,
that too. That too.
Jesus
But also
Christ.
Aries.
Literally, I was like, are we not in Aries right now? We are being so Aries. Folks, apologies. We came in hot as Aries season does. Been on a bit of a hiatus. We apologize. Again, all my bad.
No, blame the Saturn return.
Truly,
It was
it's
my
all I
bad
can
too.
do. I
Yeah.
mean, please. But for the second year in a row, I was sick on my birthday. And until last year when I was sick on my birthday, I had never like ever been like sick, I think, on my birthday. Last year when I turned 29, I had COVID and then and it was awful because it was the pink eye COVID. It was the one that was like I almost was like patient zero. I found out months later that like
Ah,
I had never had pink eye in my life, never been sick on my birthday in my
the
life. Got both
worst.
of those at age 29. Yeah, and I was just like, what's going on? So it felt like weirdly a symbolic closing chapter of truly the year 29 by getting sick. And fortunately, it wasn't COVID this time. I wasn't nearly as sick as I was last year, but I did lose my voice, like really, really lose my voice. So, listeners, apologies. I physically could not talk. And I know what you're thinking. I already know the jokes you're saying. And yeah, the remedy for losing your voice is to not talk. Agony. And yeah, it took a while because I obviously could not do that. Um, but we're
I
back, baby.
I
We
feel
are back.
like there's some symbolism in that. I don't know. The losing the voice thing gives me Little Mermaid. I wonder if there's more to look into with that.
That's so funny too, because one of my best friends ever, Jen, we have the exact same birthday. So we had a little joint like birthday celebration with our homies, and the theme was like mermaid esque and
Love
Pisces
that.
and Saturn return and like
Yes.
iridescence, you know.
Hmm.
And then yeah, I fucking lost my voice like little old Ariel. Heather,
Yeah,
you're
that's
blowing my mind.
interesting. Yeah,
That is.
you really absorbed the message of your party.
Yeah, sure did. I'm sure the tequila Red Bulls did not help. You heard me right. Tequila Red Bulls.
Sick. I'm like,
Like, I'm not
alcohol fixes
30.
everything, right? Like you put rubbing alcohol when you get a cut.
We got to clean those
You
toxins right
gotta
out.
clean the
And
pipes with some tequila.
my body sure did. Yes. And that people are always like, a tequila Red Bull. And I'm like, yeah, what am I going to do? Have
Sounds good to
vodka?
me. Yeah,
Because the
no.
drink is a vodka Red Bull. I do believe that's like the standard.
Yeah, that sounds
Um,
right.
and as clearly I was trying desperately to hold on to my 20s. What the fudge? I mean, that is not someone who just turned 30. That is not a mature
No.
person's drink. That is
Ah,
not. I didn't drink Red Bull tequila in college, but I sure acted like I did on my 30th. I'll tell you what. Anyways, yeah, you're right. I didn't make that connection before, Heather, but that's interesting. Little Ariel losing her voice. Folks,
yeah, very
we are
Pisces.
back. Loud and proud. The voice is here. Heather Cunningham is here. The one and only angel from up above.
Oh,
Had
stop.
her 30th literally a month before me. Pisces Miranda, little demon from down under.
No.
Just kidding. Um, but yeah, what a wild time. And it was kind of like the perfect, this was all happening during the astrological new year. My actual, even though I am hold on, Heather, let me see if I have it right. I'm a third deacon Pisces, or I'm Pisces to the third
Yeah, you
deacon.
must be third deacon because you're like at the very
Definitely.
end. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. It literally, Aries happened on my birthday. And
Right. That's so wild.
but I am a Pisces, but it became Aries season on my birthday. It was also the first official day of spring. Also fell on the first official day of
That's fun.
Aries. And then
Mhm.
there was there a moon? Was there something with a moon on that day? No, I think those were the two big things.
Yeah.
Um,
The spring equinox is always the first day of Aries season.
oh, it always is.
Yeah.
Oh, I really thought
Which
I found something out there.
I only realized that maybe like 2 years ago, but
Okay, okay, okay. That's still
still
modern and new.
special to have that on your birthday. That's really cool.
It was. And then it was also like yeah, it was. It was a great birthday. I was sick, but it was fine and it all worked out and I got plenty of rest that I needed and tons of time to like really reflect and it was all sort of happening during this big astrological new year, our big shift into Aries and it really did feel like the final rest before entering this fiery like I now feel so I think extra energized and pumped up and like ready to rock and roll with the rest of the year now. Um because
Yeah.
it's like what's the worst that can happen? I get sick on my fucking birthday. Like it's that's
Right.
we did that already. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like all right, we're going from here and illness happens and um I was it was a reminder to take extra care of myself and rest honestly and then it was like this big sort of rest and I got to just kind of I got like I had an excuse to just sort of relax
Yeah.
and take the day off on my birthday and hang and have introspection and I journaled and I hung out with me um
Yeah. That's the
and then
perfect way to spend a
yeah,
Pisces
was
birthday.
spoiled by my friends and loved ones the whole weekend before and on
Aw.
the day itself. But yeah, anyway, sorry, Heather.
I love
Were
that.
you go
Yeah.
on, please?
Well, it's funny that I think the last time we recorded, I said that I think a good keyword for Pisces is release, and you literally
Uh-huh.
released your tequila Red Bulls into. Or sorry, wait, am I maybe did you say that or am I outing you? I'm sorry.
I might have
Well,
released my
sickness
tequila.
always involves release. I sorry. Oh my god.
No, you're not outing me, Heather. I don't think anyone's shocked that yes,
You
not
know,
all of the
releasing
tequila Red Bulls were
toxins.
digested fully,
Sorry, we can
as well as
cut
they
that
could have
out.
been. No, no, this is very funny. Um, I don't think anyone
But
needed a
there's
nap.
some
No
symbolism in
one's
that,
shocked. Yeah, yes,
My
no, you're
mom
absolutely
texted me
right.
after that. She was like, "Release is a good word for Pisces." I was like, "Oh, thank you."
But it's true, and I like the lean in aspect. I feel like that's such like a therapy buzz like
Yeah.
phrase, or we're really using that, but it really is like Pisces really again, the more I pay attention to these transitions, to these energies, um, maybe I'm psychologically tricking myself into it, but no, like it all of a sudden hit me like, no wonder my birthday is kind of a hard time, and maybe there is just some natural, again, psychological human thought behind when you're thinking about yourself because you're turning another year and there's natural just reflection on that of course but the extra I feel like amplifiedness of yes, how we're talking more about astrology, how more and more people are in tune, um, sort of getting on this sort of same level, uh, paying attention to the energies. Yeah, I can't help but not look at it all as big old symbolism. Maybe that's me trying to justify the why me, but I
They're
did.
fun
I
that
really
way.
like. I did. I totally had a moment of the initial. Of course, my initial knee jerk reaction was, you're joking. This is not. I've been being so extra good about my vegetables and my vitamins, and I remember even kind of thinking to myself, I was extra like, should I mask up like the week before my party just to not risk it?
Mm.
No, I don't want to jinx it. And like
Uh,
I got very lucky that I didn't get sick before my party. It was
Patient zero COVID with pink eye. Jesus
oh my
Christ.
gosh, truly. Um, but after the initial it was almost so comical or almost so like I can't believe this is happening to me 2 years in a row. This is wild. And I hadn't been sick in so long. And I remember just thinking to myself too, like, yeah, I've been good about my vitamins all year. And like I'm beating this winter flu season. um, but like I couldn't help but like be like, oh, well, I'm sick anyways, so let me sit in this
Right.
and think about it, and not to the point of exhaustion or like victim, like, being the victim, but more just like, what could this maybe just like mean? This sort of
Yeah.
forced into rest mode during a very pivotal time in my existence. The big 30th birthday. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of, yeah, I can't not look at it as like, well, we're in Pisces energy and going into Aries, and I'm in my Saturn. I can't not see it, and I
Right.
love that I can't not see
Yeah. No, I
it.
I love that too. Might as well take advantage of the moment to reflect, think about what the meaning is. Yeah.
And I had to. And I've honestly, but again, I think the whole Pisces season is very like, and you have to. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah. And if you're
and
having a
then
Pisces birthday, the sun is literally shining a solar light on your Pisces planet. So it's
right.
like, hello, got to do the Pisces things, you know,
Mhm.
got to
Yeah.
reflect,
Yeah.
got to ebb
And
and
then
flow.
but again, now it feels like this fiery Aries season that I get to explode on into, that we get to explode on into. It feels so like much more earned, not that we have to like earn
Yeah,
it,
that's
but
true.
I feel so much better about the release I experienced, because now I'm fully like, it just feels like I'm have nothing to hide in the flames. I have nothing
Yeah,
to um
full
does that make
steam
sense?
ahead. Yeah,
Yes, like
totally, totally.
there's nothing a part of me now, because I've released, right? I had a moment of
Yeah,
reflection,
yeah.
and I released, and I gave into the Pisces energy instead of
Right.
fighting against it.
Yeah.
I feel like now it's like, cool, I'm able to fully burn so I can rise like the phoenix from
Yes.
the ashes I am. And again, when I say
You've
I in
earned your
this,
fast pass to the coaster. The yeah.
oh yes, Heather. I'm in the Disney lane, pedal to
Yes.
the floor main. Oh my god.
Yes.
Um, no, but exactly. Like I feel like that's the whole point. Like, not that the release part is hard, but we're not in it forever. That energy isn't with us forever. In fact, the next
Yeah.
energy coming up is there to really like, aren't you happy you released?
Right,
Now you're
right.
newborn from the ashes. You've
Yeah, the cycles all have to happen for a reason. We
It's
live
beautiful.
cyclical human lives. And it
Yes.
is beautiful. No, you're right. You're right. I feel like I've gotten so many messages lately that like astrology is real with my personal transits, not to I just like have been needing to talk to someone about this honestly because like it's wild. Um for
Yes,
people who have
please.
placements in the middle of Taurus. So my moon is on the Taurus midheaven, which the midheaven is like the career point. It's opposite the IC, which is like the home. And so like as Uranus has been over my midheaven, all of my astrology reports are like you're going to get major shakeups and unpredictable changes and shifts having to do with career, but also the moon, which is home and mothering yourself. And my roommates moved out. I'm suddenly moving. Also, like right as Uranus became exact over my moon, my fucking ceiling in my bathroom started leaking and flooding. My carbon monoxide alarm in my apartment wouldn't stop beeping. My manager like wouldn't come to fix it. It was like I've been having like so many like home shakeups that I am like, yes, astrology's real. Like, I knew this time was going to be unpredictable and chaotic, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's
Jeez.
comforting in a sense to like have the
Right.
validation of like, I knew this was coming.
Right.
I can like point to my natal chart and be like, oh yes. Um, but also if you have points in the middle of Taurus, I mean, I bet not everyone has it with the moon and on the midheaven, so it'll affect like different areas of your life depending on your chart. But if you have planets in the middle of Taurus, also Jupiter is going to be hitting it very soon. And that's supposed to be expansion, new horizons. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, but I just
Interesting.
had to share that.
I mean, my God, yes. But that's just it, right? Like again, it's I feel like not that this is funny, Heather. That's like that is quite a hand, and then some extra hands to be dealt. Don't do
It's been
not
a
get me
lot.
wrong, please. Like I totally get that. And again, like you're valid in your feelings no matter what, yada yada. But like if your knee jerk reaction was why me, like I wouldn't fucking blame you. Like that is just, it's one of those like levels of like, okay, enough. I see it.
Yeah.
I'm paying attention now. What is it? Like
Mhm.
but again, the route of that's just it. I think when something pummels you, it is kind of like you almost have to take a look at it because it's like it's almost comical. Like it's just almost comical of like, okay, the universe is clearly trying to tell me something. And I do like I find those times so interesting and not that feeling fucking annoyed or being inconvenienced or like having bullshit to deal with isn't still frustrating. Hi, we're living a human experience. But um it's been interesting. We always, a lot of times when we have perspective, of course, tale as old as time, we have that clarity a little more later and we're grateful for those hardships,
Yeah. I
yada
wish,
yada.
yeah. I wish having astrology like completely eradicated the emotional upheavals that come with this shit. Like, I wish it was enough for me to
Exactly.
just completely detach. But no, I think it's important to feel the feelings and feel the discomfort. But it is, I can very quickly look back on it with amusement and with perspective, and I'm grateful for that lens.
And I love the just like your cheeky positive attitude of like again like when
Because
we
it's
look at
Aries
these things,
now.
it
Catch
is
me two
Aries now.
weeks ago. It was
And again, Aries can be a little self-absorbent, right?
yeah.
Literally. This is why I'm also in the same place, Heather, of like, remember literally 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
God, that was miserable. And now I'm kind of like, do, 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 do. But that's like the fun, right? And again,
Yeah.
Aries is a little self-absorbent. This is a beautiful, it's why it's such a beautiful time that this is like the astrological new year, the self-focus, right? Before we move into the groundedness, right? But like
Hmm.
I just think, if there was ever a time to like really, victimize yourself, of course, but to take this opportunity of like, okay, universe, what would you like to say? That's like, she's a character, that universe. She's a
Yes.
spiritual, astrological bitch, and
Yes.
she loves playing into those hands.
Mm-hmm.
With that, Heather, shall we move into this birth chart? Speaking
Yes,
of
please, please,
characters,
please. Yes, please, please.
I am excited for this next chart, Heather,
Oh my
but
God.
I'm even more excited for you to tell this next little diddle
A
on the
little
pod.
anecdote. Yeah.
This
When this happened, I've been so excited to share, especially with you. Okay, so the other night at work, I work at a theater and I am the box office manager. So I like, socialize, I interact with the customers a lot. Get a lot of characters in there. And the other day, the other day the theater was packed. We had a sold out show for this kind of like big deal musician who was doing an album release. Anyway, this woman comes to the window and I it's like a different system. I have to check in her name and look for her name, and I couldn't find her name, and she was like I was like, what's the last name? And she was like, I don't have a last name. And I was like, okay. She was like, it's just this. And I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to like publicly. But anyway,
right.
she was like a character. Like she was a little bit older, had like a lot of makeup, but
Oh
very
my
done up,
God.
very
It was
Aries looking, honestly.
it was
Madonna,
Madonna.
no, I wish. But she had this like red sweater with these like little cotton ball tufts and just like gave this energy of like diva a little bit. And
Mm.
I was like kind of like annoyed at first. And then I eventually was just like, okay, I'll write you in and I'll sign you in and I'll deal with the like producers of this show later. And she and I like smiled at her and she was like, you have a lovely smile. I was like, oh, thanks. And then she walked away and then she came back like a minute later and she was like, I want to talk to you. You know, I got this for you. And she hands me this like plastic little like toy, like St. Patrick's Day. If you're on the YouTube, I'm showing on the video this like little green piece of plastic. It's like a 4-leaf clover. It says a 4-leaf clove for good luck. And she's like, this is for you. Like, you have a nice smile. Like, this is for luck. This is for like your energy. And I was like, okay, thank you. But I was like kind of living, but kind of also like, what is this plastic little token? But she was like, keep it with you always. That'll be like your angel. And I was like, okay, honestly, sure. And then then she is like, it's the year of the dragon. I was like, I do know. And then
Stop.
yeah. And she was like explaining that. And then I was like, actually, like I'm an astrologer. I'm very into this stuff. And, like and she was like, oh yeah, like Chinese astrology, year of the dragon, whatever. I was like, oh, I practice Western astrology. She was like, I mean, not to burst your bubble, but like Western astrology is not the thing. And I was like, okay.
Well, we're trying to bring more awareness to the West, Madonna.
Anyway, but then she went on to say like how it's the year of the dragon and my bounce animal is the rooster and I should like surround myself with roosters. And I was like, that's funny. Like my mom is a bunch of roosters at my childhood home. She was like, have her ship a rooster to you. And
Oh my
anyway, it was like
God.
a trip. I was like kind of living because I've always
What a
wanted
moment.
someone to like emerge out of the ethers and be like a sort of like psychic kind of like I just like love the idea of this like wise woman approaching me at the window who's also like a bit of a diva handing me
I
this token
mean,
and mansplaining astrology to me.
that's what an interesting,
It was wild.
that's wild. What a very like, that's kind of beautiful. I love that. And I
No,
love
it
that
was
you
great.
keep the little token on you still.
I'm going
Um,
to.
I love that it's like you both respected each other's energy and then like
Yeah,
you
honestly.
like met each other halfway.
Yeah, we did. We were like, you know what? Yeah. We
Like what if
vibe
she
in a
like leaves
sense.
you her house? I'm just kidding.
Honestly,
But like
that'd be amazing.
she can
I
be
keep
your like
having dreams
inspo.
where someone just randomly gives me a huge amount of money. That's my subconscious. Anyway,
No, no,
but
that's your manifestations, Heather.
Jupiter's about to hit my moon, planet of luck. I'm going to keep this
Listeners,
token. I'm going to keep having these dreams.
truly, listeners, it could be you. You could make Heather's dreams come true.
Yeah.
And mine. That's my dream too. That's my dream too.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Yeah.
Don't forget. That's amazing, Heather. What an Aries fucking moment. What an
Right?
LA
It was
like
so funny.
theatrical moment in a theater. Oh, and real quick too, did you not want to say the name of the musician too for like privacy purposes?
I mean, I don't know if you would know. It's Nelson Marquez. I feel like it's okay to say that. He's really cool. He played with Andy Garcia, but I didn't get to stay for the show. But apparently it was really awesome and he's
That's cool.
like a
Well,
cool
you had said
person.
you were like they were like a really big deal, and I was like, is she not sharing the name because of like privacy purposes,
Oh,
or I was like, or like were they a big deal, but she doesn't remember the name, like she
oh,
just knows they
funny.
drew in a crowd.
No, I mean big
um,
deal, but not like,
right,
someone
but
we
like
know
big
probably,
for
but
like yeah, you're like theater and like
yeah.
compared to like productions you guys have done. No, that's really fun. That's such
Yeah.
an airy, what an Aries,
It was. It was very.
like just a little Aries scene, an
Yeah.
Aries sketch, if you will. No, that's beautiful.
It
What a
was really funny.
I'm very happy you shared that on the pod. um, and with that, shall we move into our Aries of the evening?
Yes.
Our very first Aries of the season, our first birth chart of the astrological new year, the one, the only
The only.
Amanda, please. Bynes. Amanda fucking Bynes. Amanda Bynes. Oh my God.
The
I
Amanda.
just, I, first of all, before we get into the recent, I know that Amanda Bynes, in a lot of the other, like, a lot of casts, people like our age, like millennials like us, are in that like group. Before we get into just so much tragedy they've been put through, because I don't want to like skim over that by any means. I also though have to start by saying like it's such a extra heartbreaking thing to that the Quiet on Set documentary is out and all this is coming out right now. It's so extra tragic to like realize that shows we loved as kids and that brought us so much joy and happiness and like, this was before you just, YouTube was really a thing. This was before there was like really even like internet in a major way that people like kids were staying on it to be entertained, blah blah blah, not to sound so like old with it, but like truly the channels were Disney and Nickelodeon. Like those were the channels.
Mm-hmm.
And Amanda Bynes was like one of the faces of Nickelodeon.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, she was just like so huge to me. I know
Mm-hmm.
you love her, Heather. Like so
Mm-hmm.
much of our generation, like just she is adored by
Yeah.
so many, but especially I feel like our generation. Um, yeah. And
Yeah.
right now, oh, sorry, go ahead, please, please.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say I was looking up her like I was reading her biography on like biography.com or whatever before this, and it says like yeah, people in the early days of her career compared her to like Carol Burnett
Mm-hmm.
and all the big time female comedic women
Yeah, she got her start entering a stand-up competition like for kids that
at
was
Laugh
hosted
Factory.
at the Laugh Factory, yeah, in Los Angeles. And you can like still look up her set and like see it.
Oh,
And it's
really?
just so impressive because she's so young and it is
Mm-hmm.
such like so clearly a polished set. Did she actually like write it word for word? I don't really know, but regardless, her way of performing it, that stage presence, everything she later on became because she was discovered from the Laugh Factory and from doing stand up there, was like that's what shines and what really
Yeah.
is what Amanda Bynes we like who we know and love today. And like yeah, I just like she was an inspiration to me, like the same way Carol Burnett was as well for me. And like so
Yeah.
many female comedians, like Amanda Bynes was 100% absolutely in that realm and on that list of women I inspired, like, or like this is, what I want out of this life and like the comedy career and like she did like it was such a Nickelodeon. They talk about this in the documentary Quiet on Set. It's on HBO Max. They talk about how it was very ahead of its time to have like a talk show, like almost like late night style, and it being like a little girl, it being
Yeah.
a female, like that was actually really progressive. And it was also kind of wild to have like a talk show for kids like that.
Mm-hmm.
No one had done that before. That had never
Mm-hmm.
been like a thing. It was so ahead of its time and really like that's so many reasons why, and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it was those were just iconic like live sketch shows.
Mm-hmm.
Um which is why it's just it's such a fucking bummer. It's such a bummer. Folks, just before we fully get into it too, with our Aries Amanda, I don't want to make it all about this, obviously, in the end, all about the tragedy. Or just, not trying to skim past it, but it is just something that like it's being discussed all over. It's very that documentary just sort of dropped. I watched it immediately, binged all of it, cried. It's so emotional. It's very, very heavy, is just my whole point. And you
Yeah.
don't want to go into it lightly. It's a very heavy
Yeah.
documentary, very heavy stuff. Um, and it's just like, God damn it. It's very frustrating. It's just so upsetting. Not that even if these, if they weren't in our age group, these Nickelodeon kids, but just like yeah, again, like these shows that were bringing us so much joy, and these kids on TV that we aspired to be, that so much of our generation, looked up to, wanted to trade places with them, to just hear about how so much mistreatment, um, just very, very wrong, bad things, um, and like how big this case has become and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. And yeah, I just like that part's such a bummer. Her talent, Amanda Bynes is like energy. Oh my God. Like it's such a bummer that Nickelodeon is the thing that gave her that recognition. And it, weirdly, it's like they like thank God they did because like the world knows who she is, but it's also at like what a cost. It just what a
What a
price all
cost.
those
I
fucking
know.
kids had to pay
Mhm.
for truly the dream. And it breaks my heart that it had to come at such a cost and that they weren't protected more and that they Thank God those people who were in power, fucking Dan Schneider, they are like, we know about this shit now. These people are getting the fucking justice finally. System is catching up to a lot of these crimes. And these kids are no longer afraid to talk about this, and they're not kids anymore. They're adults who are able to reflect and understand what was so fucked up and wrong about so much of their treatment. With that, it's been like very similar to Britney Spears. Amanda
Mm-hmm.
Bynes has been under conservatorship for
Yeah.
many years and is also having a lot of support and fans,
Yeah.
again, these child stars, this happens so much where it's like, I'm so sick at this point when people are like, what happened to that child star? I'm like, did you just hear the question? We happened. We did
Yeah.
that. They are our
Trauma.
responsibility. Yes. Like
Literally.
our consumerism is what drives their, the money that they make that then drives all this mistreat, laws have to just be so much better. Kids have to be protected more, this was just the 90s. This really wasn't that long ago. So like we know not a ton has fucking probably changed. And that's what's also like really grinds my gears. But
I know.
with the positive twist of this, I am really curious to see there's so much extra support for Amanda Bynes right now. Not that she hasn't like, already been very supported by her fans and beloved. But I'm really hoping that we like get her some extra justice wherever we can is all. And
Yeah.
we did it for Brittany. We'll do
I
it for
know.
Amanda in
Oh,
so many ways.
definitely. Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
with that, obviously that's a huge thing that's very recent that's come out right now. I just like the love I have for Amanda Bynes and her talent and finding out she was an Aries because I was watching this documentary and that's what made me look up Amanda Bynes' sign. She's an Aries sun, Aquarius moon. She just literally wants to belong. And I'm sure like, oh, hold on, we'll get back into it. And then also a Gemini rising. Like, give her a fucking talk show.
Yes, I know. The Gemini rising with they talk so much about her having this like natural comedic timing from a young age. That is so
Mm,
Gemini rising.
wow.
Um Trine the moon and like Aquarius, I mean, I think Aquarians can be funny. I'm a little biased, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's always in like a comedian kind of way. It's more
Mm.
in a like get to know them kind of way. But Amanda having the moon next to the midheaven is like using your emotions for the public. Like your
Mm.
moon is like a vehicle for like the emotions just need to be used on a public forum. So that's really cool. You see a lot of actors and I mean comedy is like using the emotions and tapping into the emotions of the audience. There's also Sun in the 11th also wants to be a part of a community. It's something bigger. Mercury and Jupiter in Pisces in the Jupiter's in the 10th and Mercury's in the 11th. It's a very public chart. There's a lot
Yeah.
that is I mean it's like all on the top half, the public hemisphere of the chart. And then I am just noticing probably the most striking thing is that the only planet that's at the bottom half is Pluto, which is the dark
Mm.
underbelly power struggle Scorpio planet. She has it in Scorpio because she's a millennial like us, and in the sixth house of work and day to day routine, opposite
Mm.
Venus in the 12th is really striking to me. Um, yeah,
Interesting. I should have made you, not made you, but I should have, I'm realizing now, pulled up Britney's chart too. Not that I want to compare these two the whole way, but very similarly to that, like child stars who got famous very young with big child companies, Nickelodeon, Disney, right? With Britney and the Mickey Mouse Club, Amanda and all that, and then the Amanda Show. Like, also this documentary talks about her parents being heavily involved, and I do think there's maybe a lot of similarity. There was a lot of stuff that rubbed me very like the wrong way in the same way that when I was like watching the Britney Spears documentary and this like not to put the full blame on like Amanda Bynes' like family, but that dynamic of like the kid gets extremely wealthy and the family is now fully relying on them. Like
Mm-hmm.
that happens to a
Mm-hmm.
lot of child stars. Um,
Yeah, Cole Sprouse talks about that. Yeah, so many. I'm sure like that must be a wild
right.
uh
And yeah.
dynamic.
Yeah. And anyways, I just like that's why I'm also like the conservatorship as well, and then like the
Yeah,
child star thing, the family kind of taking advantage. Um
I know.
God, what an ugly business it turned this like, it could turn people into. Yeah.
No, it's
Also though,
insane. It's insane.
it's an ugly business, yes, but also at the end of the day, I also do think that like those might have just been some ugly parents. I do think both can be true.
Yeah.
Just saying. Go on. Sorry, Heather.
Hmm.
Just want to point that
Yeah.
out. But I'm like, oh, I'm like, does anything in her chart say about her?
Well,
her
yeah, the moon is
sorry.
really I mean they say like if you when you look at like the parents in your birth chart, like the moon represents the mother, the sun
Mhm.
represents the father, but also the 10th house in the midheaven. Um, it's career and it's the public, but it's also like the paternal father archetype, they say. So
Mm,
if you like have your sun or your moon near your midheaven, like whatever parent plays that role, it doesn't necessarily have to be your mother, like has a heavy influence. And Amanda has moon conjunct midheaven square to that Pluto in the sixth house, which if you have already having like your sun or your moon, one of the luminaries, like aspecting Pluto in a harsh way, it's gonna be like a force because Pluto is like the most forceful outside planet. If it's
right.
like directly interacting with the sun or the moon, it's like felt heavily and is a huge indicates huge life themes. So yeah, so Pluto in the house of work, squaring the moon next to the midheaven, the career point, but also representing like a parent influence. Yeah, I see stuff in this chart. The sun in Aries, they also say the sun in Aries in general has to be a fighter, like is like
Mm,
fighting for independence in a lot of ways. In the same way that Brittany as a Sag, we see that archetype play out with Sagittarius a lot too. Like both kind of represent like
interesting.
fire us to like fight for something, but Leo's more like fighting to shine. I feel like Sagittarius and Aries like fight for like freedom or like like Aries is like independence and
They need
Sagittarius is
their,
like freedom and
yeah.
but Brittany's chart is actually very I feel like there's some sort of like Pluto interacting with the sun and moon in her chart too, but I remember Brittany's chart was very like personal focused actually, like bottom part of the chart, which I thought was interesting, and the second house. And I think like for Brittany I don't know. I don't want to speak for either of them, but I get the
Right.
sense watching what I watched of Quiet on Set that Amanda like really wanted to be in the public like from a young age
Mm,
like and was like even it's also crazy I realized that she got the Amanda show during her Saturn opposition when she was 14. She
ah,
got
mm,
What a Girl Wants, her like transition into more adult like
right.
outside of Nickelodeon stuff that happened during her next Saturn Square. Um or no, sorry, that still was the opposition at 16. Like, but then something significant happened at 21 too. Maybe that was when the conservatorship stuff happened or Big Fat Liar and that like movies. I don't know. But it's
Oh,
interesting
maybe she's the
like
man and all that too.
I
Like
think
that
maybe that was what it was at
was like a big
21.
one, a big
And
hit.
then like I think the
She did
Saturn
Emma
return
Stone,
was
the
when it
Easy A.
all fucking went to hell.
Yeah,
But
Easy A was like her last, I think, big like thing that she was in
yeah.
before. But again, in that way that like when after I read Britney's book, and like people talked about this too. Before I read the book, I kind of knew this going into it because I'd already seen sort of people talk online about it. But I think a lot of people were surprised at a lot of like the self-awareness she had in a way that she poked fun at herself. And like she like makes a joke, for example, like, and if you're only here because I'm totally kind of butchering this quote, but it's essentially along the lines of if you're only here because I do crazy shit in my Instagrams, well, yeah, I am traumatized. Like she kind of straight up like, I'm
Right.
gonna be a little weird online.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
did
I'm
you like,
taking
and here's
control
what,
back and like
like, just let me regress and be a little weird and spin around online. Okay.
yeah.
Like, excuse me, is like her tone. Um, but Amanda Bynes, I like when I kind of like because again, this documentary also, of course, like made me kind of go through a timeline too of like, where is she now? What is going on? I did see something somewhere. I can't remember if this like actually happened. So, and like, I can't even cite my sources on it, but apparently, I do think she was asked to be in the documentary or interviewed for it.
Yeah.
And I think she was like, it is quite literally way too traumatic. Like, like, just, she said, I believe she said something that she was like paralyzed for like multiple days just from being asked. Like, that's how much trauma was brought back. So, like, it does really frustrate me again when it's like, what happened? When people are like, what happened to these child stars? It's like trauma. Clearly, are you what?
Yeah.
Like, that's not someone who's happy and healthy and is supportive and has people in their life to lean on. Like, I don't understand how you can look at that and not see anything. And I think
Mhm.
people get so blinded by because someone has fame and money that they no longer are allowed to be a basic human being of like messy or having a fucking day or like not being completely mentally well enough to like
Yeah.
perform and like be your idol for a minute. I don't know. I just do. It was the more I looked into Amanda after this, I was finding myself naturally kind of like seeing a lot of the Britney timeline in that too.
Yeah.
And I forgot, yeah, and then like yes, the fact that they're both these fire signs, but I did, yeah, Britney's being a more, Britney like right now too is kind of like, I think the fame is more so all she knows, not necessarily that she's always ever been good at it. I think she is beloved because she truly is just like a girl next door. I do think there was a lot of like when Britney was coming up, that was just her being very authentically herself. It's like you can almost like
Yeah, no,
feel that,
totally. I
you
think
know?
so too. I was watching old interviews of her just last night, like from the early days of her career. And I just like get the impression that it wasn't about being like a huge star for her. I think she was just like doing her thing and kind of fell into it. Whereas Amanda, I think maybe more had aspirations. Like I know she wanted
Mm.
to be emancipated from her parents so that she could like work more and do more movies and like I don't know, like at that Saturn Square right before the Saturn return, it felt like she was still like, but who's to say? I don't know.
Well,
but
it's
but from
interesting
the
you
charts
say
it's
that
interesting
too.
that Britney's is more like
Yeah,
personal themes and
right.
Amanda's is more public.
Like she was kind of like built more for the public. It was like yeah, that's really interesting. It's funny that you say that too, because there is a moment in the documentary where it talks about that, where someone who's a little closer to her or worked with her who knows how she was to work with was like, I don't think she liked hearing no. And I'm like, well, she's an Aries. I remember hearing like that line in the documentary, and I was like, well, yeah, she's an Aries. And it's like, it is a very like, I do want, yeah, that's really interesting. And she also kind of like, not that Britney didn't get famous young, but the Mickey Mouse Club, they were in Orlando. Those kids weren't in Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
it's
And like
different. It's different.
immediately getting so like it was a little different. And then when it ended, she like went to high school. She like,
Yeah.
and the Mickey Mouse Club ended in Orlando. She went back home to Louisiana and like still kind of lived life normally.
Yeah.
Amanda got famous like I think she was 13, maybe younger.
Uh-huh.
Like when
Uh-huh.
she finally got the Amanda show even. So like that's she did, like that was still also that much extra. Not to I feel like I'm totally comparing the two of them, but I'm
No,
more
it's interesting.
it was just really stuck out to me. And then they're both these fire signs, and then you bringing up the personal versus public. Whereas, like, I totally can see that more with Amanda because of her chart. And then also, yeah, thinking about like
Their
she's,
trajectories.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's really, really interesting. Sorry, Heather, please.
Yeah.
Any other major moments you want to zoom in on Amanda's Bynes' chart?
There's also this seventh and eighth house emphasis, which is interesting too. Saturn in the seventh. So like the planet of restriction and but also needing to be disciplined and to mature and master that area of life. So the seventh house is like one-to-one relationships, which a lot of artists have placements there because it's like your relationship with the audience.
Mm.
Um, but that's also interesting. Saturn in the seventh opposite the Gemini rise, and it looks like square Jupiter. I don't know. It's interesting because she did have these like contractual, very Saturnian Capricorn adult relationships, I
Hmm.
guess. Like had to, I don't know. mature
Well, she was working
early
with
with her,
adults,
right,
right?
like
Like she
had
was
these
on a
like
cast of
working
kids.
professional one-to-one
Yeah.
relationships early
In
on.
control of her. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's interesting.
Hmm.
um yeah, but I mean, there's like so much in this chart that just indicates like a star also. Just like it I totally get like the talent and
She
the
is.
fucking raw power. Like it's yeah. She's incredible. She's absolutely incredible.
She is. She was not taken care of properly. And I do think this, like, again, like most documentaries do, it's gonna like a lot of our generation is watching it. It's really, really popular right now. I'm very interested and curious to see where this goes for her in terms of like the way the fans support her and the way the fans do. And um just sort of I really want her to find as much peace as possible because it was a lot of trauma she was put through. But my God, what a like talent and someone who really inspired, I think, so many, especially for women. And seeing like a funny, Amanda Bynes really never fell into this like by society standards, like picture perfect prom queen sort of, idea of sort of
Yeah.
like what our generation kind of grew up with. And then also like, but she wasn't this like nerd or like loser. She was like authentically her,
Yeah.
charismatic. She was just like cool girl by being just like by funny.
Herself. Yeah.
Yeah, she was really like, it was like, it's so much deeper than just like her being a star on Nickelodeon. Like I
No,
think
no.
so many women, and not just women, but like especially women, I think really like she was very inspirational for
Yeah. Such an
it's.
Aries, like real raw person, I think. Like
Mhm.
really did just like shine through her authenticity and just like boldness. Like,
And wanting to make people laugh. It also feels
yeah.
very like it's like, yes, it's Aries selfishness of like I'm the one for the job, but in a way of like that Aquarius moon of like but for the people to have a good
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
it's a beautiful balance. We love
Hmm.
you, Amanda. Please come on the pod. Oh my God.
Please. Oh my God. You talked to
Time of
my
our
friend
lives.
Kristen at Starbucks once
Oh my God. Wait,
about
Heather.
being an Aries.
Yeah, that's wild.
I know.
Shouts out to Christian Miola for that one.
Yeah.
Working at
Lucky.
Starbucks, Amanda Bynes just walks
Just
in and
walked
he
in
told
after her
her,
workout.
oh my God, that's so
She paid with
fabulous.
her credit card and he saw that like the name said Amanda Bynes and he was like,
Wow. It's
and
like, I'm
then
definitely not. Oh, he saw that first before he realized who she was.
I think so. I can't totally remember. This was years ago, but like,
Wild.
yeah, I know that that was like confirmation. He was like, oh my God, like it is Amanda
That is her.
Bynes. And then she was like, oh yeah, it's my birthday soon, And he was like, oh, you're an Aries. And she was like, yeah, when's your birthday? He was like, I'm a Taurus. She was like, oh, we're kindred spirits. And he
Oh,
died.
an astrological queen.
I know. We love.
Love. We love. Uh, Heather, beautiful. Shall we let the folks know what's coming up?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It's April and we're not there quite yet, but soon. April is supposed to be like the month that astrologers when they were breaking down the astrology of 2024, they were like April's going to be it. So, I am excited. It's
It's
very
here.
energetic. Yeah. So we have this Libra lunar eclipse that's happening today on and it starts eclipse season. So we have another eclipse in 2 weeks with the Aries new moon and then we have another eclipse later in the year in Pisces. But
Mm.
we're now in eclipse season. And eclipses are about noticing your shadow. It's pretty reflective because it's the sun is either being hidden or the moon is, the light is being shadowed, eclipsed. But it's also like depending on the placements, you could be eclipsed. It also represents like changes, sudden shifts, like things that could set you in a new direction. Not for everyone, especially if you have Libra, that might happen, but it depends on your placements. Should we
Mm.
wait till the next
Yes,
Zoom?
I was literally just gonna say, I was like,
Just real fast. So, yes, we have eclipse season. And then March 28th is nice. What day of the week is that? That's when Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday, Venus forms a sextile to Uranus. And Venus is the planet of love and pleasure. Uranus is like sudden shakeups and breakthroughs. Uranus is doing a lot of things in my chart, so I'm looking out for this. If you have like Taurus, could feel
Mm,
this a little bit deeper. But it can bring like newness to the ways you experience love and pleasure, or also finances, or like Uranus's breakthroughs, innovation, shakeups. So try new things in how
mm.
you relate to others and how you go about finding your financial abundance. Um, I don't know.
I
It's a
love that.
nice, yeah, a nice aspect. And then Tuesday, April 2nd, Mercury goes retrograde. I feel like it's been a while since we've had a Mercury retrograde. So it goes retrograde in Aries, and it'll be retrograde, I think, until April 25th. So pretty much all of April.
Jesus.
I know. Um,
I
but
forgot I did mark that in my calendar at like the beginning of the year though, and I was like, that has to be wrong. And then I double checked and I was like, yeah, it is like almost the whole month.
yeah, I feel like it's usually, yeah, around like 3 weeks. So,
It is, yeah, but they're necessary.
you
Hey,
know,
they're
it's good.
necessary.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's good for like reflecting. My natal Mercury, I was born during a Mercury in retrograde, which
Okay,
they say maybe like
so they
makes you
can't be
enjoy the,
bad.
I feel like I can't string sentences together most of the time, but whatever. Um, why do I have a podcast? Wednesday, April 3rd, Venus forms a conjunction with Neptune, which is super, super nice. That is like planet of love meeting up with the more exalted planet of love. It's like when Libra and Pisces come together and they rub off on each other. And it's like, we just want to be cozy and connect. And it's very spiritual energy. But they say also it can be like disillusionment because you get that with Neptune and Pisces energy. Um, yeah, and then I also wrote down that the next eclipse is April 8th, but we'll talk about
A
that more in the
big
next
one,
podcast.
yeah.
Yeah, the solar eclipse in Aries, that is like the day I move, and I'm like, why did I
Wow.
do this? But I didn't
Wow.
plan it that way. That
No,
just so
that's gonna
happens.
be that's a
Fresh
beautiful
start.
symbolic. Yeah. Oh my God, Heather. No, that's gonna be, don't you even get negative about that for a second. That's beautiful.
It's very
I
Aries, honestly. I'm
yes.
independence. Yeah.
Yes. And freedom and about you. Like truly the focus is on you right now. And I love that for you. And that's
Thank
needed for
you.
you. I don't really need that. I need less focus, probably. Be a little less
Stop.
self, just kidding, just kidding. But no, this is a time to be selfish in a way that's like beneficial for you, what's good for you.
Yeah,
Like again, it's
Aries.
just like, this is why it's so funny again when we have the man-made human calendar new year, right? It's all about setting new goals and intentions for yourself to usually most of the time better yourself, better your place where you're at, a way
Right.
of progressing or advancing, and whatever that looks like or means to you. So it's like, to me again, this is why the Chinese New Year, the astrological New Year, all those like kind of falling a little closer together, being after the winter solstice, right? Like being during that new time of fresh spring, it's so symbolic, right? We're in this fresh new spring season. It's the spring literally of our lives. It's a brand new astrological new year, and the energy that combusts as soon as it happens is you focused. This is a
Yeah.
time to like not only goal set and like set for the year and look and but it's also a time to like get after it. It's
Yeah. Wow, you put
and
that
yeah,
so well. I love
you know,
that.
and that's all I'm again, and that's probably just more because I'm like, I don't want to do resolutions in the winter. It's cold.
No,
But
no, of
like
course not.
to me, it just does make sense. And I mentally and energetically and like just more physically even feel like, there's so, we're no longer hibernating. We want to be out
Yeah,
there. Like we're embracing that Aries. It all just makes so much more spiritual and like and logical for that matter sense to me that this is more of the new year of our in a new brand new fresh start.
totally,
I don't know.
totally. I mean,
To
yeah,
each their own.
the
But
cherry blossoms are out.
oh, they sure are. The daffodils are
Oh,
daffodilling. Yeah, no, it's a
you put that
beautiful.
so well.
Well, I just Heather, I talk out of my ass quite a bit.
You
And
make a lot of sense.
but I really meant what I said there. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like can't remember half of what it was. No, I'm just kidding. No, I do. I'm like it's really all it is that I take way too many laps to finally get back to the center. Um but no, it's a beautiful time. This is
It
a time to be a
is.
little self-centered and a little selfish for the betterment of you. There's
Yeah.
no guilt or shame in that. And I
Yeah.
love that our generation is breaking out of that. Our generation is a lot more understanding of the importance of the oxygen mask on you first before
Yeah.
helping, before you like literally can do anything else. I think we
Mhm.
understand if it's like you're going to be a better assistant and help to other aspects of your life if you take the time to put the oxygen mask on first. And what a time to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Ah, I love the excuse, I must say.
I do
Ah,
too.
beautiful time.
It
I'm
is.
excited, Heather. Folks,
Me too.
listeners, hope you're excited too. We're back, baby. My voice isn't going anywhere. I have shit to say out of my ass. And it's
I
Aries
love
season,
to
so
hear
like
it.
you're allowed. I'm allowed to speak before I think, actually.
Yeah, yeah,
I
it's true.
thought I'd mix it up a bit, didn't I, Heather? I love you so much, Heather.
I love you so, so much.
Listeners, we
Love you,
love you so
listeners.
much. It is a replenishing year of the dragon, baby. It's finally really here. Let's get at it, shall we?
Bye. Infinite
Bye.
abundance. Bye.
Infinite abundance. Mwah.